Hey, honey,
Yes, Barry?
let's get out of here.
Where are we going?
Where do we always go?
Fascina el viento, este ritmo de palmas, sin mi naturaleza, hasta encontrar la playa. Por eso grito al mundo, yo soy de Puerto Vallarta. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta.
Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. I'm your host, Barry Kessler, and I'm just so happy to be introducing you to my favorite vacation destination. Maybe it's even yours, and that's Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. That music you're listening to is performed by Alberto Perez, and Alberto is the owner of the Lapa Lapa group of restaurants here. Those are the Lapa Lapa, Puerto Vallarta's oldest restaurant on the famous Los Muertos Beach, and the El Dorado Restaurant and Beach Club right next door. So you can enjoy that fantastic view of the Los Muertos Pier, all lit up at night in beautiful colors, or during the day in its grand splendor for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, seated with your toes in the sand, right at the water's edge. It's so romantic. It's so Puerto Vallarta, my friends. This week we are going to go to one of my favorite restaurants in Puerto Vallarta. It's called Barcelona Tapas, and we're going to meet the owner and the creator of this restaurant, Bill Carballo. He's going to tell us the story of his wonderful restaurant. This place has got a killer view and killer food. But before we get to Bill, let's see what's happening this week in Puerto Vallarta, September the 9th, 2020. Well, there are signs that things are returning to the old normal, popping up everywhere in Puerto Vallarta, like this one here from Vallarta Lifestyles. 49 Riviera Nayarit and Puerto Vallarta restaurants are ready for Restaurant Week. That's right. 49 Nayarit and Puerto Vallarta restaurants are ready to participate in the 16th edition of Restaurant Week. The event will take place from September the 15th through October the 10th, 2020. There's a bunch of restaurants, like I said. Let's just point out a few of them here participating. Barcelona Tapas is one of them. Barrio Bistro, and Bravos, and Cafe de Artistas, El Dorado, Divino Dante, Kaiser Maximilian, Joe Jacks, La Capella, La Leche, La Palapa, Poblanos Cocina Mexicana, River Cafe, Roberto's, Serrano's, a bunch of them, you guys. Organized by Vallarta Lifestyles Media Group, Restaurant Week has the support of the national and international promotion of the Riviera Nayarit Visitors and Conventions Bureau, as well as the different tourism authorities of Puerto Vallarta. Restaurant Week provides diners in Riviera Nayarit and Puerto Vallarta with the opportunity to enjoy fixed-price, innovative three-course menus with 3 options each at some of the most prestigious restaurants in the Banderas Bay. We know that this year's Restaurant Week has the goal to help participating restaurants to start the season properly. Given the recent events, we have to work hard to achieve the beginning of what we hope will be a strong return to our activities as a tourist destination, shared Luis Mendoza, the Chief Operations Officer of Vallarta Lifestyles Media Group. And for more information about the restaurants that are participating, I have a link in the show notes. So if you are going to be in town, this is great. This is really good. Get out there and participate. And if you live in town, get out there and help these restaurants kick off a good season. So that is nice to see that there are signs of the old normal, but of course we do have signs of the new normal as well. It can't be all roses now, can it? It seems like, just like in the United States, Independence Day celebrations are going to be canceled in Puerto Vallarta. No fireworks, no music or entertainment on the Malecon and around the bay. No grito being delivered from the Presidencia Municipal. None of that. Unfortunately, Anyway, that all normally takes place in the times around September the 16th, which is Mexican Independence Day. But you never know. Maybe la gente, maybe the people there will celebrate on their own. Who knows, right? Anyway, you might wonder, if it could get any worse than that. But if you are in Nuevo Vallarta, if you're over across the Rio Ameca on the other side there in Nayarit, you will not be able to buy alcohol for 3 days leading up to and including Independence Day on September the 16th. So from the 13th through the 16th, Nayarit will be a dry state. So no alcohol will be sold in the stores or the markets or the bars or the restaurants. So that's that's a bit of a bummer. Stock up right now, I would say, on booze while you can if you're in that area, or if you are planning on vacationing during that period of time and you're going to be in town, pick up booze somewhere else. And you could always go down to Vallarta and celebrate. And, there are ways around that now, aren't there? Anyway, in Vallarta, all of the crafts, all the farmers markets, they've all been shut down since, the shutdown occurred. Those were like the Olas Altas Saturday Market and the Marina Market, the I guess that Thursday night market over there at the Marina, and they had the cruise market. Every day of the week there was a different marketplace that was happening, but at least for now they have all shut down. But there is a new marketplace over at Puerto Mágico. Puerto Mágico is where the cruise ships come in. There is actually a new building there, complete with parking structure. It's really a mall. And my friend Dean Rager actually gave me a tour of the place while I was in Puerto Vallarta, and we're going to have Dean on in a few weeks. We're going to be talking about his chocolate place, which is Cacao Mágico, and we'll be visiting with him and talking about this incredible building. At any rate, Dean has organized a new market called the Magic Market, and right now he has 110 vendors over at that market. It all has to be Mexican-made stuff, and well, here let me read something from my buddy Marcia Blondin from the PV Mirror and from Arte Viviente, and she describes Dean's project in her weekly article called From Here. And let me see here. Puerto Mágico, a magic market. There's a new kid in town. Are you a butcher, a baker, a candlestick maker, a musician, a mime, an opera singer, a clown perhaps? Are you an organic gardener and need a venue once a week to sell your fresh veggies? Do you want to learn how to make chocolate, adobe brick dolls? What about a few dance lessons? You want to learn how to cook Mexican food? Do you want to sell this special Mexican food that you make every day? What about arts and crafts? If you make them and want to sell them, keep reading. Do you want to sell your handmade products in a brand new, super clean, enormous, well-run market with zero politics, lots of healthy competition, and eventually millions of people walking past your work? The Magic Market, presented by Puerto Mágico, is opening Friday with 72 vendors in place. So now there's 110, you guys. This market will grow weekly, and the long-term plan is to be the biggest and the best in all of Mexico. Puerto Mágico, a magic market. Everything must be handmade or produced in Mexico. In other words, if you import authentic Mexican goods from China and or India, it will not be for sale at the Magic Market. The idea is to give a platform for indigenous craftspeople who are way off the beaten track. The gathering of these products has been underway for some months. Under Teresita's auspices, who's in charge of the Proyecto Semilla, Teresita travels far and wide, making arrangements for locally produced items far away from Vallarta to make its way here to the market. There will be carnival games, strolling musicians, a gift basket raffle drawn daily with all proceeds going to that day's selected charity. There's loads of free parking, clean bathrooms, and lots of them. And who? You. What? A magic market where? Over at Puerto Mexico, where the cruise ships dock. When? Every Friday from 4 until 9 p.m. Why? It's to support the local producers of all imaginable things and local charities. Anyone interested in participating as a vendor, entertainer, teacher of something cool, or a charity in need of funding, exposure, send me an email, and I'll put you in touch with the powers that be. And so that is what she wrote, and I can also do the same. So if you have a product or if you want to get in touch with someone that can help you, let me know. But anyway, this is going to be a great marketplace. It's a real must visit, and you will be very impressed with Puerto Mexico. There's lots of free parking, like I said, and a cab will get you right to the front door pretty easily. Just tell them you want to go to the cruise dock. Now, Air Canada is doing something a little bit different here. They are offering COVID coverage if you're flying to Mexico. This is from the Calgary Herald. Air Canada offers COVID-19 insurance at no extra cost in a bid to entice travelers. The coverage offered at no extra cost will apply to southern destinations like Mexico and the Caribbean. And it reads here, Air Canada is struggling like airlines around the world as COVID-19 pandemic continues to hit finances hard. They have announced that it will offer Canadian travelers COVID-19 based medical insurance at no extra cost. The move will apply to southern destinations like Mexico and the Caribbean in a partnership struck between the Canadian air carrier and Allianz Global Assistance, the German insurance firm. The extra coverage, which began Monday, will include quarantine accommodation expenses, as well as emergency medical bills related to COVID-19 if a traveler contracts the virus while abroad. The program from Allianz covers up to $100,000 per person traveling per trip and includes repatriation should a person die aboard. We are pleased to be the first Canadian tour operator to ensure coverage in this place for emergency medical and quarantine expenses related to COVID-19 as part of our vacation packages, Nino Montagues, managing director at Air Canada Vacation, said in a statement. We're looking forward to continuing to work with Allianz Global Assistance to turn our customers' travel dreams into reality. The Canadian government is still, however, asking people avoid non-essential foreign trips, citing Canada Border Service Agency figures. And at any rate, you can find the link to this particular story, which is very interesting, in the show notes at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. So anyway, welcome back to Mexico, Canada. Way to go. I'm sure they'll throw a couple of roadblocks in your way, but whatever. Now, there's this old trick that seems to be coming up lately around town, having to do with getting pickpocketed, and it's kind of the "let me clean you up" trick is what I will call it. Here's the scam: someone alerts you to the fact that you have something on your pants or the back of your skirt or whatever you're wearing. The perpetrator of whatever this is happening to you works with a group. One of the people squirts ketchup or mustard at you from behind you so you don't notice. Like they'll have a little package of mustard or ketchup, whatever, and they'll squirt it on you. And then someone will point it out to you and they'll say, hey, you got something on your pants. Here, let me help you clean it up. And then suddenly, before you know it, you got a whole group of very concerned con people all around you trying to help you out, maybe even escorting you to a washroom or something like that. And while they're cleaning you up, they are taking your wallet and they're taking stuff out of it and emptying it. And maybe they'll put the wallet back in your pocket, but you will never know that until it's too late that everything that you had in it that's of any importance is probably gone. Now, oftentimes the scam happens in a parking lot of a supermarket or a public lot or in a public place like a park. And so what happens? The first thing you got to do is you got to know that this scam happens. All right. So be aware if someone says to you, "Hey, you got something on your pants," right? What do you do then? I mean, now you got to tell everybody around you to stop what they're doing. Don't touch me, right? And don't accept any help from anybody, right? Because these guys and gals, they're pros. They're con people. They do this better than you could ever imagine. So you need to extract yourself from the situation. Tell them to get away. Call a cab. Get a cab. Call a friend or summon an Uber. But just be careful. That scam seems to be popping up a whole lot lately. All right, so I had a listener ask me about the situation with these guys who sell pot over on the Malecon. You'll encounter them as you walk from Tile Park north along the Maleconcito, along the Malecon there. Now, it can happen just about anywhere, of course, right? But the more visible ones are in that area. And I have to say that I must have like one of these like little invisible signs around my neck that says, "Pregúntame si quiere multa." Or in English, "Ask me if I want weed." I mean, every time, I've had taxi drivers offer it to me. I've got old guys and young guys. They all want to know if I want some of the hippie lettuce, right? So now look, I am not encouraging anybody here, any one of you guys, to be buying drugs, all right? Even though pot's been decriminalized in Mexico, the cops don't care. They're gonna mess with you if they find some weed on you, or if they smell it. They're going to mess with you. Okay, so you got to be careful. Okay, and here's the deal: if you want to buy pot in Puerto Vallarta, the best way that I have found is to actually have one of your friends buy it for you before you get there. Okay. You can buy an ounce of weed, like a real 3 or 4 finger bag of weed, for about 500 pesos, or that's like, I don't know, like $25 US. Now, usually, I let one of my friends know I'm coming down, and I'll send them the money via MoneyGram or PayPal. I'll include a little extra money for them, and then when I come into town and we meet up, I usually just take half of that weed and I give it to him or her or whoever it is that's getting it for me, right? Because I'm never going to smoke that much rope in a week. Okay, it's not going to happen. So anyway, I keep the rest of it in the bag. And keep it to myself. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing about the baggie, because the baggie is a biggie. Okay, in this town, you get your weed in. It's not an ordinary bag. Okay, when you buy from the street, whether it comes from that pipe and cigar seller who's not your friend. Or if you get it from your friend, who has gone off and you've sent him 500 pesos, whatever it is, or the guy who's going to sell you a dime bag on the Malecon for 500 pesos, right? Both of those guys, either one of them, they're going to be giving you your weed in a orange-colored baggie. It's the kind of a baggie that you get when you're packing Junior's lunch around Halloween time. You know that kind, right? You got a little sandwich in an orange baggie, okay? Now, there's a reason for this, and it's to identify that this bag of weed is cartel weed. Anyway, along with the orange baggie, because, anybody can buy orange baggies, right? But with the orange baggie, they're going to have a little seal on it, and it's a sticker. It's about 10 millimeters by 10 millimeters, and that signifies that the bag of weed is cartel weed, right? It's like the sticker of proof. Sometimes it's a little hologram. Sometimes it's different. Changes from time to time, but it's always this sticker on the bag. Now, do you take that weed out of that baggie and put it into another one because orange is so orange? The answer is no, you do not. You never take that weed out of that baggie and transfer it to another baggie, because that orange baggie is protection. It's protection against having the cops take real advantage of you, okay? Now, is the weed as good as it is when you get it at home? No, it's not. And for the most part, cartel weed is dirt weed. It's the kind of weed that it's okay. I mean, is it consistently bad? No. Sometimes it's good, but it'll do the trick. And, I asked one of my friends, I said, so why is it that Mexican pot is so blah? And she says, well, the reason is because, the guy that's in charge of the cartel doesn't smoke the weed, doesn't consume it, so he doesn't care. So there you go. There's an interesting story about why weed is so bad. But anyway, one of my buddies also told me that he and some friends were smoking some weed that he brought down from the U.S., some really good weed, and the cops smelled it, and then they knew that it wasn't cartel weed just from the smell of it, and they gave him a really hard time. So be careful with that hippie lettuce in Mexico, okay? You're not safe with it. I'm just telling you, these are just important things to know. Keep it in the orange baggie, and share it with your Mexican friends, and gift it wisely before you leave for home on the jet plane, because there's much better weed at home. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get to the interview, shall we? Now, Barcelona Tapas is located on Calle Matamoros. It overlooks downtown Puerto Vallarta. It's got this killer view of red tile roofs and of the Bahia de Banderas. Now, I'm going to let William Carballo, the owner, talk about the evolution of the restaurant, but I also wanted to mention that he alerted me to a project that he was working on when I came to visit him and record the interview. Next to his restaurant, there was an empty lot. It wasn't very pretty. It was kind of an eyesore, but Bill pointed out to me that he got together with the city, and they approved his plan to make the area more park-like, to improve the pathways for his neighbors who are living above and around his restaurant, and fix the draining, and just make the lot look like a park. And he managed to do it. This was all his project. The city didn't have any money, but they approved it. They said, yes, you can do it, but this has got to be all you. And man, it looks really, really nice. So next time you're there, if you've ever been to his restaurant, check out what he's done. Just to the north side of his restaurant. It really, really is cool. It doesn't look like an empty, overgrown lot. It looks beautiful, and anyway, really, really wonderful. Now, the restaurant, as I said, is on Calle Matamoros and the 31st of October Street. It's got a wonderful view, and let's go right now. Let's do it. Let's go to Calle Matamoros 906, and let's meet William Carballo, the owner and the creator of this beautiful restaurant overlooking our beautiful Vallarta, Let's go to Barcelona Tapas, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Bill, thank you very much for coming on the show today.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from, and what was your path that led you to Puerto Vallarta?
Well, I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I was born in 1966. I studied mostly in the Chicago area. I have a college degree from a school called Loras College in Dubuque, Iowa. I spent a couple of years in Spain when I was 18, 19 years old, where I was working and going to school. I lived in Costa Rica for a school year during college, and most of my experience in working life has been working in the kitchen and a little bit in the service of restaurants and hotels.
Right, and that was in Chicago.
In Chicago, I've worked in Spain, in Iowa. I've done stages in different restaurants around the world.
Wow.
I've been to Spain in about 15 different trips, all of them being culinary-focused trips, and also history and culinary.
All right, so you've got yourself quite a reputation there in the kitchen, it sounds like to me.
My experience has been in the kitchen. In the last 10 years, I've been focused on running the business in all the different departments, in the service, in the bar, in the legality of running a formal business that we comply to the different laws and so forth. So I'm not in the kitchen very often unless I go in there to make an employee meal or something like that.
Okay, well then let's back up a little bit and let's talk about how you came here. I mean, what brought you here?
At the time that before coming to Puerto Vallarta, I was working in a restaurant in Chicago called the Cafe Barico Restaurant on LaSalle Street in Chicago, and that was in 1992. And I had met a woman, young girl from Puerto Vallarta, who ended up becoming my wife. I was married for 15 years. I have a son with her, and my son was raised here in Puerto Vallarta. I raised him pretty much by myself since he was 10. He's 23 now, and he had studied here in Puerto Vallarta all his life in a bilingual school, private school, and he's also worked in the restaurant. He decided to study culinary as well, and he chose to go to a school in New York called the Culinary Institute of America, also known as the CIA. And he studied there for 4 years. He has 2 degrees from there. And he got a really good job offer from the Hillstone Restaurant Group in the States. They own the Houston's restaurants and a few other concepts. So he's over there learning a lot right now and working. And because of his mother, I met his mother. She was from Puerto Vallarta, and she was actually on vacation when I met her. So I ended up coming to Puerto Vallarta starting in 1992. Got married to her in 93, and my son was born in 97. We decided to live here in Puerto Vallarta full time, and since 2000. 2000, we came down to put the restaurant on the rooftop. Before that time, the property, I had bought the property as a vacant piece of land from a doctor named Dr. Rodriguez, Alfonso Rodriguez, who passed away a couple of years ago, a very good friend. And it was a vacant lot, and we built a home, and that home we rented out by the week for the first 4 years before it turned into a restaurant.
Yeah, so was it always planned to be a restaurant?
No. It was the original plan for the property was it to be rental apartments with a swimming pool, renting it by the week or by the day. And then in the year 2000, I decided to, or 1999, I decided to come down to Puerto Vallarta so we would be closer to her family, to make it more of a family life. And we opened the restaurant in year 2000, actually the last day of 2000. So the first year of working the restaurant really was 2001. Mm-hmm. In August of 2001, we all experienced the 9/11 shock, and that was a scary time for us because we had really no people here at all. Okay. And didn't have any people, didn't have any money. I had 2 kids going to private school. Yikes! And didn't know what was going to happen. But after 9/11, that November that came around after 9/11, we had lines in the stairway. We had 80 stairs originally going up to the restaurant, and we now have an elevator. But for the first 18 years of the restaurant, we didn't have an elevator. And people would wait in line during high season, starting that first season.
Wow!
So it really turned around. It was pretty much we were trying to catch up with the business that we had. Every day it was something we had to do to try and do a better job for the demand. And so we've been blessed that we've had, even in downturns, we've had been very blessed with enough business to pay the bills.
Yeah, and that's really important around here because bills keep coming, and you got to do something about those.
And,
all right, so in 2000, in year 2000, what was this restaurant like? How many floors did you have?
in year 2000, the restaurant was a rooftop restaurant. Well, we opened up December 31st, 2000. So really 2001, the restaurant had 8 tables on the very rooftop floor. The size of the building compared to what it is now is actually 1/4 of the size. We've grown the property 4 times more, which most of that growth has come in the last 3 years.
Yeah, you've put in 2 new floors. Yes.
Well, we put in one
new floor.
One new floor, but we also expanded each floor. We expanded by 30% by putting in a new area in the entrance of the property to be able to hold an elevator. And when we did that, we decided to do another rooftop floor, which was a really good decision because we were able to put in high ceilings, which is good for the airflow and good for the breeze. And with what's going on, in today's world with the coronavirus or COVID-19, our ambience and our atmosphere and our infrastructure works out really well to be able to comply with all the protocols, which we are following very strictly. And to this point right now, we haven't had any of our employees been sick. No one's been sick in the whole thing. We hope that stays that way for a while.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. All right. So you were just showing me the new that new floor. Tell us what you got planned for that floor.
Well, the floor, we're almost done with the details. We've got a few more weeks to work on that floor, but that floor is going to be a floor used for the sunset dinner business, which we have. And the high season starts at around 6 or 7, and it lasts until about 9 o'clock at night for that sunset seating. And then at 10 o'clock, we're going to turn the space into more of a lounge type, where we'll have live music. The idea is mixology, montaditos, which is Spanish finger foods, and then also live music. We're investing a lot of time and energy and money into the sound system, into the space as acoustically, so that it sounds well, but also aesthetically. We're going to be putting some really interesting artwork there, all with a music theme, music concept in the artwork, and with the live music or DJing, we're going to have a very, very impressive space with a beautiful view of Puerto Vallarta, but also having the audio visual, having big screen TVs and some TVs in there is going to work well to be able to show some of the cultural things we do, especially with the music end. We also have a private room which we're going to use for invited chefs, invited artists, and also invited musicians from other places. So we're going to have some neat talent here. The space will be able to hold in today's world maximum 50 people, which is a good number of people to have in that space. And we've been working the music for the last month or so and supporting the musicians. And it's been very interesting to see how much talent there is in Puerto Vallarta. And people are coming to see them, and it's really helping us help them, and they're helping us as well.
Yeah, there's so much talent. You are absolutely right. And the view from up there is going to be like the best view that you're going to get anywhere in town with the mixology. I mean, it's going to be amazing. That's a great idea.
I think there's always someone that's better in different areas. There's always going to be someone that's going to be better and with a view. But I think the combination that we're going to have is going to be a really unique place, and there's going to be very few places in Puerto Vallarta that will be able to give you the ambiance that we will, and we want to be part of that experience for the people to come and to really enjoy themselves, get some quality atmosphere, quality music, quality dining, tasty drinks, friendly service, and at a fair price, so they can go back to their hotel or their home, whether they live in Puerto Vallarta or they're traveling, and remember it as a real good experience all around. We've got to be sharp on every little detail.
Yeah. Wow. That's going to be incredible. I can't wait till that's done. I will be back for that, let me tell you. Let's talk a little bit about, not everybody here is familiar with Barcelona Tapas. Tell us a little bit about your menu.
Okay. Our menu is based basically off a menu that of some things I've learned in Spain in the 1980s, in the late 80s when I was living there and working in kitchens. But most of the influence comes from some chefs from Chicago who I'd worked with, starting in 1987 with Chef Emilio from the Emilio's restaurants in Chicago. And he at that time had left the Cafe Barbariba, which is a real famous Spanish restaurant, still is today. And he had left as a chef to open up his own place, and that's where I got most of my experience. So the menu was based originally off of the menu that we worked in Chicago of Spanish food, and then as I came down here, we've taken on our own, personality, and probably half the menu is influenced from my past experience, and the other half is from what we've learned here by living in Puerto Vallarta and seeing what people like. We've got some things that weren't on the original menu, like the chocolate molten cake, and that's kind of a tendency. A lot of restaurants have a really nice, warm type of molten cake, or they call it a volcano cake. And we use really, really good quality chocolate. We use it's called Calibu chocolate. We use two different types of that chocolate, and so it's like a chocolate souffle. And then we have other things on the menu that are real authentic, like the Spanish omelet, which is called tortilla de patata. We have the croquettes. We have fried croquettes, the cured ham and chicken croquette, and we have a crab and shrimp croquette, which is really good as well. We have pinchos, which is some brochettes of chicken, pork, or meat. We have the most famous tapa, which is called gambas al ajillo, which is a garlic sizzling shrimp made with extra virgin olive oil, garlic, fresh shrimp, and chili peppers, and sea salt, and that's comes to your table sizzling in a clay dish, and you eat the shrimp, and then you dip the bread into the olive oil with the sizzled garlic, and it's very tasty.
Yeah.
So we have so many different things. We have also we have steak items. We have fresh fish. We have shrimp dishes. At times we do some game as well, duck. Our price point of the restaurant is about $25 per person as an average for food and beverage, and that's the normal check average. So it's not a very expensive place, and it's really well worth it. We give a lot of bang for the dollar. We also bake our bread on a daily basis. We have two types of breads that we give to the guests with extra virgin olive oil. It's an infused olive oil. And then we also we distinguish ourselves differently than a lot of restaurants, because not only are all the sauces and everything all made from scratch and fresh, but we also make our own ice cream. So we have ice cream. Sometimes we have local fruit ice creams, like the jackfruit, which is called yaca. and that's interesting too. Sometimes we make the tequila ice cream, but every day we have the vanilla ice cream. We have chocolate, and we also have some nut ice cream, whether it's a pistachio or it's a walnut ice cream. And our famous ice cream is the helado de albahaca, which is basil ice cream. Yeah, my mind just went
Really?
blank.
Basil ice
Yeah, so
cream?
we have a basil ice cream. I'll give you something to try before you go, and people love it. It almost tastes kind of minty because it's when it takes on the coldness in the cream. You can taste the basil, but it tastes almost like a basil mixed with mint, but it's 100% basil.
Wow. All right, so that's a big hint, everybody. Homemade ice cream. Okay, so make sure before you leave here you get some of that. What would you say is your most ordered item off of your menu?
The two dishes that are sold most of our menu is the garlic sizzling shrimp, and as well as the grilled 3 types of mushroom. So it's button mushroom, portobello mushroom, and oyster mushrooms that are grilled in an extra virgin olive oil and garlic with a little bit of chili pepper and coarse sea salt, and that's served with a little bit of a saffron cream sauce, and that you can have just as without the cream sauce and have it at 100% vegetarian, or we also are offered the option to add in a Spanish chorizo, which is called chistorra. Chistorra is the sausage. It's like a thin Spanish sausage, very tasty.
Nice. Wow. Okay, so those are the 2 most ordered items.
And also the sangria. Obviously, for about 30% of everybody that comes here has a sangria.
Yeah.
And that's our biggest selling drink.
Okay. All right. So, are you open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Are you open for lunch and dinner?
We open at currently we open for lunch and dinner. We're opening with the Barça Lounge top floor. We're opening up later at night, so we're open till midnight, and we serve till about 1 in the morning on weekends. And during the weekday, we also open for the same hours. We're open 7 days a week. We plan to do a breakfast buffet once things go back to being normal, and we haven't planned to close. We may close for a week or so in September, depending upon how business is. But it looks like it's going to be we're going to be open, throughout September and October. During this challenging time, the response with our restaurant has been fairly good. We're taking care of it this difficult time. We're about half of what we were before, which is a really big accomplishment to be able to be doing half the business that you did a year ago, considering all the things that are happening. Many restaurants have closed down for the season until October or November, and some have closed down supposedly for good. Yeah. So it's hard to see. We're not immune to any of the challenges. We have to really work on it and take everything serious and take it day by day. We're doing a lot of it by day. Well,
you're doing a great job of it, I got to tell you right now. Listen, let's leave Barcelona Tapas for just a few minutes. Let's go out into town and let's talk a little bit about that. You don't do breakfast, so tell me, if you were going to, what's your favorite breakfast spot in Vallarta?
Well, you know what? There's so many of them. I can tell you where I went today for breakfast, and I put it up on my Facebook a couple of hours ago. When I was at the Lindomar condominium complex that has the Playita restaurant on the ground level, and it's a beautiful place to share a breakfast or a lunch, and I like going there for the atmosphere. And then as far as other breakfast places, there's without a doubt the most popular and famous and consistent breakfast is Freddy's Toucan, and he's over in Basil Ice Street, but he just recently opened up a place in Fluvial Vallarta that is an incredible new restaurant, probably like no one has seen in Puerto Vallarta for a breakfast location. So I would have to say that the Freddy's Toucan would be the number one choice. But there's also so many different other places too. There's like Coco's Kitchen, one of my favorite ones, and very cozy, and one that I go to probably more than any other one is called Mi Cafe. And the owner there his name's Adalberto, and he's a great host. And it's a small little cafe, and they've got the best French toast in Puerto Vallarta, hands down. And then also other places that I've gone to before are the buffets. Like the Sheridan was always a good place for the buffet when they had it. Hopefully they'll be able to get that back, and to be able to listen to the mariachi. Yeah. So there's so many places with great breakfasts. Coco's Kitchen, I don't know if I mentioned.
Yes, you did.
Coco's Kitchen. She has a great chili relleno omelet, and she's dog friendly if you have a dog, so that that's good to know.
Yeah, definitely. And she opened up a grill. I think she's doing something at night as well.
Yeah, they're doing things at night with her daughter Vanessa, and they're also good friends. For a long time, so they're good colleagues and nice friends.
Good people, and it's another great restaurant for breakfast. Now, I normally would ask you for tips on lunch and dinner, but I'm not going to because you have a lunch and dinner place, so I don't want to do that. Let me ask you, if you were going to leave town for a day and come back same day, where would you go?
I think a good trip is to Talpa or San Sebastian, just to get up into the mountains, especially when it's hot out, because it's a little bit cooler there. Otherwise, if it's in high season, where it's not very hot, I would say to go to Las Animas. Take a pango boat or a taxi boat over from the Boca de Tomatlan, and take it to Yelapa or to Las Animas. Have lunch at a place called Los Conos, which is a really good restaurant right on the beach. They've got great food, and 3 of the guys in the kitchen used to work for me.
Oh, really?
So
okay.
yeah, so there you go. So they're doing a good job.
So Los Conos, when you're in Las Animas, Los Conos is your go-to place. They've been there a long time, haven't they?
I think they've been there a long time. The guys that are working over there in the kitchen, that worked with me, they've been there for about 4 years now. And by accident, I was there, and I had a great lunch, and I said, "Wow, this is really good." I said, "Who's behind this?" And they showed me the kitchen. They were 3 ex-employees of mine, so it was good to know. And I've been back about 15 times.
All right. You didn't go. Hey, where are you? Come back to work. You didn't tell them that.
No, but they know they can come back to work if they want.
Okay.
Yeah, they're original employees from the restaurant, but they're doing some really neat things. They're doing things that are different than we do here.
Yeah.
They're doing pescado zarandeado, and they've got a really good octopus too, done differently than what we do. They're doing more of a Mexican seafood over there. So, and they do a great job there.
All right, nice. That's a great tip. Okay, so how about for a 3-day? If you were going to go away for 3 days, where would you go?
For 3 days, I think I would go to Guadalajara. And Guadalajara is a great city. The people are very nice, beautiful people. They have good shopping and really good restaurants there too. Kind of a night, kind of a fashion scene over at Andares shopping mall, where they have like a whole strip of great restaurants, and you can just be there, people watching, just beautiful people there, and couples, families, and beautiful women.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. See, Puerto Vallarta is not the only spot, kids. Guadalajara. So that's a 3-day. Where would you stay? You have friends there, or would you stay in a hotel?
Well, I usually, when I go there, I stay at a place called the Executive Inn or something like that. It's called Avenida Mexico. It's a main strip. It's actually right across the street from a restaurant, an Argentinian restaurant that's very famous, and I forgot the name right now. But there's another restaurant across the street called Alcalde, which is a famous restaurant. The chef is supposed to be top notch, like one of the most famous in Mexico, and that restaurant's called Alcalde.
Mm-hmm. Alcalde. All right, so more tips for you heading over to the Guad. Okay, so that's what you get for listening to Bill here. Bill, if you had a word of advice for a first-time visitor to Puerto Vallarta, what would it be?
I don't know about the advisor. I mean, I think for the first time person to come here, I think to be able to find out what their interests are, and there's so much information on the internet now, and your podcasts and the information and the links that you have and on your website would be able to lead you to a lot of information. But I would just try and figure out what your interests are. If you would like to do an outdoor stuff, there's a lot of outdoor things to do here up in the mountains. And if you're a beach person, well, we've got I don't know how many miles of beach in the bay, but there's really nice beaches here too. And it all depends what you want to do. We've got everything here in Puerto Vallarta, from casual. Neighborhood places to eat and dine and hang out at, or top-notch hotels and fancy restaurants if they want to go that way. So there's a little bit of everything for anybody that wants to be here. It's like being in real Mexico here in town, and then as you go into the hotel zones or the marina, it's like being in another world too. So there's a lot of contrast, not only that way, but there's also, we've got the mountains, we've got the the beaches, and we've got people that live here too that are from all over the world. So it's really grown to be a place with a lot of options.
Yeah, very cosmopolitan. How about a word of warning? You have any word of warning for someone coming to Puerto Vallarta?
Don't get married right away. Don't get married right. Be careful. Be careful. You may fall in love.
That's right. Okay, that's another great tip. Look at you. All right, everybody, line up. This is good. This is really good.
Yeah, I can say that I've been here for 20 years, and I've been living here full time for 20 years. I became a Mexican citizen 10 years ago, and in the 20 years that I've been here, I haven't been in any situation that has been dangerous or be careful about anything. I mean, I think it's relatively extremely in today's world, and in comparison to places in other countries that are going on right now. I think Mexico can be looked at now as even a safe option, even though they do have their challenges. But me personally, in 20 years, I haven't had any firsthand experience of any theft or robbery or any kind of a violent crime other than my divorce.
Yeah, which can get pretty nasty.
But that was 12 years ago.
All right. Well, that kind of stuff that fades away real quick, right? Hopefully. Do you have anything to add? Do you have anything that we haven't talked about that you wanted to add?
Just that here in Puerto Vallarta we have a good sense of community. We're very involved in the Chamber of Commerce for the restaurants and the General Chamber of Commerce as well. The city has its challenges, but they've done a pretty good job of trying to support us. Me, and as an individual, I've had some contact with the folks here in City Hall, and we have a good relationship. And I think that they're trying to do the best job they can, and I think that we're all committed to making Puerto Vallarta a safe place, not only with the COVID-19, but safe with every other way. With the way that transit police and the way that we have the city set up for traveling back and forth, and it's a safe place to walk around town as well. And I think the people that come down here should be able to feel safe in any kind of a situation, as a tourist or as a full-time citizen.
Excellent. Okay, so do you have a website? Tell us. You have a website. You have a Facebook page. What do you got going there?
Yeah, we have the restaurant has all the social media. We have Instagram and Facebook, and we have our web page has just been recently redone, and so we're in the process of changing some details on it, but it should be 95% up and running as we speak, and that we've just been working on that for the last 2 months. So we were outdated 2 months ago, and we needed to bring it up to date. I've got 2 different people full time that work with us. One is our photographer who does sunset photography. He's working in the marketing part of the restaurant. And then we have another gentleman named Alex Mora, who's a radio show in the morning here locally, and then afternoon he works for us, is doing public relations with contacts with the people in the hotel, the concierge, the doorman, events for charity, and so forth. So we've got 2 people working on that full time.
Excellent.
And then as far as myself, I have a Facebook. My name is William Carballo, and if you look for William Carballo.33, it's my personal Facebook, which I use a lot to promote things for Puerto Vallarta. It's public, so you can follow me on it if you want. If you don't want to be a friend, you don't have to be. You can just look at it whenever you want. Everything that I publicize is publicized in a public way, so anyone can see it. And there's some interesting things on there. Some really beautiful pictures of sunsets and of places. I also like to promote other places. I was at La Palapa last week for breakfast, and I put up what I had for breakfast and talked about how of a nice place it is. Lindomar I did today, and I do it just if I like the place a real lot, and if I had a good time there at the moment, I like to promote other places as well, because it also helps me to promote myself as well. I think the people are thankful for what I do. I mean, my customers or people that look at it, and it's not very common for restaurant owners to plug other restaurant owners.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, all that stuff will come back to you, as you know. All right, so once again, give me your address.
Okay, we're Barcelona Tapas is located on the corner of Matamoros and 31 of October. The way to get to the restaurant is, as a point of reference, would be the McDonald's of the Malecon, that street, all the way up 4 blocks, or where the Woolworth is. If anyone still remembers about the Woolworth stores, we still have one here in Puerto Vallarta, and that's 2 blocks away from the restaurant. And so it's important to not confuse the street in Matamoros with Matamoros. That's on the other side of town. You would want to go to 31 of October is the name of the street. In Spanish, it's 31 de Octubre. And the other street is Matamoros.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. All right. I will have a link to his Facebook page, and I'll have a link to his website. And I also will have a map that'll take you to the front door of Barcelona Tapas, Puerto Vallarta. And you will not be disappointed. I can tell you that right now. The view is $1 million view. The food is incredible. And Bill is one of the hardest working guys I know. Bill, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. I want to let you know how appreciative I am of you, sharing Barcelona Tapas and yourself with my listeners. Well, truly appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. And if it's okay with you, anyone who listens to this podcast, if you let the waiter know when you come in, tell me you listen to a podcast and that we are offering you a free round of drinks. So complimentary on the house.
Wow! So
when you come in for lunch or dinner, and mention that to the waiter, and they'll give you an after dinner drink. If you'd like to, a Sambuca or a Bailey's or something like that, we'll be more than glad to give you one of those. Or we can offer you as well. We do a cream of tequila, which people like to do, and we serve that on ice, and people really like it. It's kind of like a Kulo and cream, but it's got a different twist to it. It's a little bit more refreshing. So come in and let us know that you listen to us, and if you have any questions or if you need any more information about the restaurant, feel free to contact me at the restaurant, or you can contact me through the Facebook as well, Facebook Messenger.
Excellent. All right. Like I said, I'll have all those links. And Bill, thanks very much, man. Appreciate it.
No, thank you very much.
All right, Bill. Thank you so much. Thanks for that great information. And thanks for all you are doing for your neighbors and your employees. You're great. If you haven't been, you really need to check out this beautiful, beautiful restaurant. Enjoy the sunsets or the flickering lights from the city below as you enjoy the music and the cocktails. And that Barca lounge upstairs, too. I mean, that's pretty remarkable up there. So go. Have some fun. I got pictures, I got links, and a map, of course. It'll take you right to the front door over at Barcelona Tapas, Puerto Vallarta. All right. Well, that should do it. Next week, stay tuned for more on-the-ground reports from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, with travel tips, great restaurant and excursion ideas, and more. But until then, remember that this is an interactive show where I depend on your questions and your suggestions about all things Puerto Vallarta. If you think of something that you should be talking about, please reach out to me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending us your message. And remember, if you're considering booking any type of tour while you're in Puerto Vallarta, you must go to vallartainfo.com, that's JR's website, and reserve your tour through him right from his website. Remember, this is a value-for-value proposition, my friends. His experience and on-the-ground knowledge of everything Puerto Vallarta in exchange for your making a purchase of a tour that you would do anyway. You're just doing it through him as a way of saying thank you. Thanks, JR, for being our guide. It costs no more than if you're going to use someone else, so do it, really. And when you do take one of his tours, email me about your experiences. Maybe you can come on board and share with others what you liked or didn't like about the tour. Again, contact me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending off a message. And don't forget, he's got his maps, his DIY tours, his revitalized happy hour board, and more. And I have links to all of those in the show notes. And once again, if you like this podcast, please take the time and subscribe and give me a good review on iTunes, if you would. That way we can get the word out to more and more people about the magic of this place, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And remember, I made it easy for you to do just that with each episode I create. And if you haven't been to my website, you really need to have a look there. I've got links to the places we talk about. I've got interesting pictures and more, all right there in my blog post and in the show notes for each episode of the show. So check them out for sure if you haven't already. All right? All right. Hey, thank you, William Carvalho from Barcelona Tapas. Check out his fine restaurant. Experience those after-hour nights right there, that after-hour night spot that he created. It's really beautiful. That you gotta go. It's got a view to die for, okay? Food, the cocktails, the ambiance, just can't be beat. And remember, I have links and I got pictures in the show notes. And hey, thanks to all of you for listening all the way through this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. This is Barry Kessler signing off with a wish for you to slow down, be kind, and live the Vallarta lifestyle. Nos vemos, amigos.
Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de amor junto al mar. Solo camino, verlo por la playa, me encuentro junto al río, cuando todo está en calma, pronto cae la noche, brillas Puerto Vallarta.